Welcome back to another episode of Trading Secrets. Today, I am joined by social media personality, fashion model, and Bachelor Nation fan favorite Tyler Cameron. Tyler received national attention after being a participant on season 15 of The Bachelorette, where he finished as runner-up in Hannah Brown's season. Prior to being on the show, Tyler had started to generate moderate interest from modeling agencies around the country via his social media. After being on the show, the demand for his skills, I like how they wrote skills, would eventually turn into a massive modeling career opportunity. In the years since, Tyler has been established and is one of the strongest social media followings amongst former Bachelor contestants and created additional career business opportunities from content creation to hosting events to his new podcast, Everybody But Me. Today, we are going to learn all the ins and outs of the modeling industry, how Tyler views his life after being on The Bachelorette, what he thinks of the franchise today, and what some of his career goals are moving forward. Tyler Cameron, thank you so much for being here on Trading Secrets today.
Thank you for my flowers. That was nice of you.
Did you like that?
That was nice.
Nice little introduction. Yeah. That was very soft. That was soft. We're going to get into the good stuff. We're excited to have you on Trading Secrets. So is the Money Mafia. I'm going to start out with
the Money
this.
Mafia.
The Money Mafia.
What we call the crew?
That's the crew. You like that name?
The Money Mafia.
What do you call your crew?
I don't have a name yet.
You don't have a name?
You
go to all those little bar appearances, get paid. There's like hundreds of girls there, and you don't have a name.
Someone had the name back in the day. I think it was Julia. She said Tiehards.
Tiehards.
I'll take that one.
All right, there we go. All right, well, I want to start with this. I look at you, and it's fascinating what you've done because you went on one show. Mm-hmm. You're like a one-show wonder. Now, you've gone on other shows since going on The Bachelorette, but you've gone as kind of like a quote-unquote celebrity public figure. But you only did one show, like being on a cast, and blew up. And this is my favorite Tyler Cameron story. You and I are sitting at a sushi joint. Matt James came in, and he came in like mid-lunch. He was at all associated with the show. And I was like, dude, so what are you going to do? And we started talking about like what you're thinking. And you started to date Gigi Hadid. And I was saying, he's laughing because I already brought her up. But he's laughing because he goes to me, dude, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I got $5,000 in my bank account. I don't know what my next job is, and I'm dating Gigi Hadid. What was that like?
Not even 5,000. I had like 200. You know what I mean? I'd be going on dates. This is like one of my early days in New York City. I'm living on Matt's beanbag. Yeah. Right? I'm living on Matt's beanbag. Have no money, and I'm like the happiest I've ever been because it's just like the world is wide open to me in New York City. I can do whatever I want. And I remember I'd be going on dates. I'm like calling Pops up in the bathroom. I'm like, yo, Pops, like, I don't think my credit card's gonna go through. I need you to send me some money right now. He's like, you got it, son. Go get it. And he'd send me some money. I'd cover dinner and whatnot. But I was just like, I remember there was like some touch and go points there where I was like, man, hopefully my card swipes. I'm over here swiping with my eyes shut, just like, please go through.
All right, the focus of today, I want to talk about pre-Bachelorette and then post-Bachelorette and how that kind of changed your career and finances. Yep. But how are you, like when you go on a date with Gigi and you only have $250 to your name, how do you pay for it? Like, do you ever have a story like how are you managing that?
Man, you just crossing your fingers at this point. Like I don't know. Like at this point, I don't even know what a credit card is. Like I got straight debit cards, so it's like when you hit zero, you hit zero. And so I'm just crossing my fingers, hoping it swipes, and it just kept swiping.
And it kept swiping.
Yeah, I was always like, I'd have to call the next. I was like, hey, Mom, Pops, like, I gotta go do this today. Can I get a couple hundred? Because like you can't make no money after the show.
Yeah, not because you're contracted.
I remember I did a gig with Mac Weldon right after, and Mac Weldon took such advantage of the situation, and I was like, I don't really respect him anymore.
How so?
So like I did it was like one of my first gigs after the show, which the show gave me a hard time about doing, but I was like, yo, I was a model before you guys, I can still model. Mm-hmm. And it was literally it wasn't even like a real modeling gig. I forgot what it's called, but you go in there, you take like they just shoot the clothes on you. Does anyone know what it's called? No. Okay. Mm-hmm. But they go in there, they shoot like the shorts on you. You're not even really posing as a model. You're just shooting for the clothes.
So your face isn't there on it.
Your face really isn't.
Of course, got it.
And so like you're not really modeling. You just like they want to get every pair of. It's like for their like website.
Yeah, of course.
So it's like 100 different pairs of underwear, 100 different shirts. You know what I mean? You just go through it real quick. It's like a $2,500 a day. Mm-hmm. Not even probably like $1,500 a day, and did the job. And then the next thing you know, I'm their biggest ad campaign. Like a week later, it's like
so they used that. They actually used your face
because I started blowing up on the show. So they started using my face and that, and they started putting it everywhere. But when it was only supposed to be used for just their online, whatever. And then, but I was like, yo, I got $1,500, $2,500. Like I'm rich.
You're
you know what I mean? I'm like, I can survive for 3 more weeks now. You know?
That's 3 more dates with Gigi.
You know?
All right, let me ask you this. But before the show, I want to go into pre-Bachelorette Tyler.
Yeah.
You already talked about how like money was a little tight. What were you doing to earn money?
So I started building my first house.
Okay.
And I was doing that, and I was pretty much done with the house. So I hadn't even made money on the house yet. I was basically just like getting a little bit of money to survive. I was living off like $200 a week.
Who are you building it? Are you building it by yourself? Are you building it with dad?
By myself.
You're building it all by yourself.
So my pops bought the land for
Okay.
me. He's like, if you want to learn how to build a house, this is how you're going to learn. He's like, buy the land. I'll give you the plans. You figure it out from here. And so I'm going to the building department every day asking questions. These people are getting sick of me. I'm over there asking the dumbest questions in the world. And then they just start making fun of me and like playing games with me. Like, all right, make sure you put your papers over there, like on top of the blue bin. And I'm like, next to the blue bin, it's a garbage can. I'm like, are you guys messing with me? And they all start laughing, you know, like, so like, that's what I was doing. And the show called me. And the
Bachelorette calls.
Yeah. Bachelorette.
So you're building this property.
So I'm building this property ground up, and that's when I started doing the calls and all that.
Let me ask you this:
modeling.
who's funding? Like, I mean, it's not.
Investors are funding it.
Okay, because I asked that because people back home are like, "Wait, I would love to build something. That all sounds great, but I don't have the money to do it." So
investor.
Okay.
So we have an investor. So we always buy the lot,
okay,
and then the investor puts up the money for the build.
Okay, I want to stop you there because people at home might be wondering, how do you get an investor? What did you do to get an investor?
So it's my pop's investor at the time. So it's just
family
his reputation with that investor. Like they've been doing it for years. They feel comfortable with each other. So he knows I'm not going to screw this up. My dad's not going to let me completely screw up the house, you know?
Got it. Okay, stay tuned to the recap. We'll talk about different ways you can raise money if you are looking to raise capital to do a project. But dad invests in you. You then get a call from the show. Then what happens?
Yeah, so like I start getting calls from the show. And I remember my dad always tells a story. Like I was like, yeah, Pops, I have to leave work today. Like, you know, he comes by the job. Like, I have to leave work at 3. I have to interview. You know, I have to do a Zoom or whatever it was called back then. And he's like, what the fuck's the Bachelorette? You know? He had no idea what the show was. He's like, this is a joke, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. I'm gonna do it though. And so I did it, and you know, eventually I got caught off the job, and like I literally, the job got done while I was on the show, and they sold the house or whatever.
Because your intro package was you dancing around.
Yeah.
First of all, apparently you were a dancer.
Yeah, I was almost a dance minor in college.
That sounds like some bullshit to get credits as a football player.
No, it's because I failed out my first semester.
Okay, I knew there was something.
I failed out my first semester, and my coaches are like, Tyler, you're gonna stay in summer school all summer, which we didn't know. Like I was like one of the 3 guys that did it because we all were in trouble.
Yeah.
And you're going to get your grades up. And you're gonna be in these dancing classes. That's how you're gonna do it. And I was like kind of pissed, but then I get into class, it's me and like 20 girls. I'm like, this is the best class I've ever done. So I just kept taking dance classes.
Some things never change. All right.
And then I became a comm major, which was all girls in my class. You know, it was the best.
It's always going to come back to women at the end of this podcast, but I'm going to
They make the world go round.
They sure do. I'm going to bring it back to business here. So you got this land, you're building a property. Bachelorette calls you. Mm-hmm. I want to go back into this a little further. I don't understand how you're making money. How are you making even 200? Where's it coming from? $200 a week from where?
Just off the investor. So I'm peeling some money back.
Gotcha. So some is going into the project, some is for your salary.
And then I also I did a couple jobs modeling. Like I remember I did like a Cartier. The day I got the call to be on The Bachelorette was Valentine's Day, and that day I was working as like a doorman. For Cartier, like in this little Cartier suit, like with a little hat on, like a little bellhop boy.
I'm gonna have to find that and put that.
I have the picture just deep in my Instagram, and it's hilarious.
We're gonna go deep into that. I want to do like a little rapid fire pre-show. How many followers do you have at pre-show?
Like 2,000, 3,000.
2,000. Who signed you? What agency signed you modeling?
That's a hilarious story.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, so I have no followers. I'm just posting random pictures, just me and the boys.
Shirt off, I assume.
Yeah, but I was still a big boy. I was like 250 coming down. I was slimming down. You know, it was post football days.
Okay.
And this dude keeps I'm like 230 at this point, so it's still pretty big. And this guy keeps like writing like fire ambulances underneath my photos. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And I click on it. It's like, casting director for blah 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 blah. And so then I was like, man, I'm living at my mom's house. And I'll
Slide
take any
his DMs.
opportunity. So I hit him up. I was like, what's going on? You know what I mean? He's like, and then immediately he's like, have you ever modeled? I was like, no. He's like, you should model. I was like, I don't know about all that. He's like, send me digitals and I'll get you, intro to some people. I was like, what's a digital? So he sends me these photos of like these dudes like in their underwear and shit. All these photos that are just like, very kind of provocative.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I'm sitting there thinking about it. I'm like, damn, I'm really about to send some stranger pictures of me in my underwear. Like he's just gonna, what's he gonna do with it?
Yeah.
And so then I was like, well, fuck it. What do I got to lose? And so my boy comes over, Mike, and my brother. We're in my mom's bathroom, right? Mike's got he's like the only one I know with a nice camera, so he's taking photos on his camera. My brother's got a light.
This is hilarious.
And he's holding the light like over his head like this, and we're just shooting these photos.
And you're in your underwear.
And I'm in my underwear. I'm in my Calvins, baby.
Yeah.
And I'm taking the funniest photos, man. I'm like squatting, like doing the exact poses I see those people doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking at these at the end, like cracking up. I'm like, I'm really about to send these out. So I send them out. And then he's like, these are great. He's like, he's like, next week, he's like, you have meetings with every agency in Miami. They all said yes to you.
So this guy was legit.
He was legit.
Okay.
And I was like, well, this is crazy. So then I went down there, met with everyone. Everyone's like, you need to lose some weight still. You still got your football weight on.
Okay.
But it's a yes from everybody. So then I signed with Next or whatever. And then
when you sign with an agency, how does that work? Modeling agency, do they lock you up? Do they full exclusivity? How much do you pay them?
So like the first agency you sign with, they want to become your mother agent.
Okay.
Which basically means that now whatever agent you sign with after that,
they go through.
They take 10% off
of everything.
Of everything.
Okay. So did you sign that deal with them?
Yeah.
Did you end up firing them at some point?
Yeah, right away.
Okay.
And because I signed with New York, and then I got on the show. And then I just got rid of it.
Okay. Before the show, so 2,000 followers, you get signed to the modeling agency. How much on average are you getting paid per shoot?
I make like $1,000.
And how long is the shoot?
All day.
Okay, so like 12 hours. You're like in underwear for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
I'm naked for 24 sometimes. So
That's true.
What's 12 hours in underwear?
So that whole thing about like fluffers, is that real? Do they like keep you going?
Yeah, you'd be a great fluffer.
All right, we're getting back to it. So you go on the show, right? After the show, how many followers do you get?
After the show?
Yeah.
I think I end up like 2.2. That's where I'm at right now. I'm guessing so.
So 2.2 though, because you had like the wildest things happen. Hannah Brown's season was one of the biggest after Colton's season.
Yep.
At no point were contestants, not leads, contestants getting millions of followers, and you and Hannah end up potentially leaving everybody on the edge of their seats. Like, we're possibly going to get back. We're going to go on a date. Paparazzi's following you around New York City. And then all of a sudden, this dude from a fucking ABC reality show like that is now dating the top supermodel in the world. Did all that stuff like help, like instantly catapult your growth? Or are you saying you were at 2.2 right after the show?
I think I'm kind of like, I was already there. I was already high. I think that just kind of solidified where I was and who I was in that moment.
Okay.
But damn, I was a lot cooler back then.
Why do you say that? Like business wise, why do you say that?
No, I mean,
like relevancy? Is that what you're?
Well, yeah, but
you're still pretty relevant.
No, relevant for sure. But like, I think we're television personalities.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like the only time we grow or we pop is when we're on TV.
Yeah.
And I think part of it too is like I'm not built for social media,
like doing content and stuff.
Yeah, like I'm not good at it, and like only thing I'm good at is taking my shirt off on social media. Like I don't sit around making I think of like ideas or jokes or things to make people do that and they're great at it. Like Matt's great at social media.
Yeah, Matt's great at social. Yeah,
but I could never do that.
All right,
and it's also not fulfilling to me.
Okay. Interesting. All right, we're going to get into what is fulfilling to you. Before we do, I want to talk about after the show. You go on one season. It changes your life. 2.2 million followers. Life is looking a whole lot different than it was before. And I've always wondered this, and I don't think I've ever asked you. Was it, because it's pretty genius that you only from a career perspective and financial perspective that you decided to go on one show and not go on Paradise and not become The Bachelor. Was that by coincidence or was that by design?
Well, Paradise, the first Paradise off the show, I was never allowed to go.
Why?
Because I think I was too far. I was like the last two.
Gotcha.
And so I think they already were in like production or like already getting people ready to go film for that while I was still kind of
Okay, career business wise, would you have done it if you were asked?
Well, I mean, I got asked The Bachelor. I just never turned in my papers.
But were you asked to be The Bachelor before you were asked to go on Paradise?
Yeah.
You were? Mm-hmm. And what made you say no to The Bachelor?
Well, actually, I don't think I ever got asked to be on Paradise. At that point, I think they were only asking me to be Bachelor.
Actually, now I'm starting to have flashbacks. You and I were doing a Heineken campaign. Andy Roddick sitting on the tennis court. Yeah, that guy was crushing us. He was like he was chirping us. Remember when Andy Roddick, he came up to us, he goes, "Oh, there's something similar between me and you guys. We all finished second and third. The only difference is I'm on an international stage playing with the best athletes in the world."
Paid a lot more to do so,
he was chirping us so hard. But you told me then they're asking you to be The Bachelor, and you said that you decided not to do it, and you didn't want to do it. My intuition, you didn't say it, but my intuition was that it was because you were busy talking to possibly Gigi.
I think there's probably some truth to that. But I honestly I remember when I got off the show, I met with I had an agent, and then I fired that. I had a talent agent.
Yeah.
And then I fired that talent agent. And then I took a meeting with my new agents. And it's funny because they were all these young girls at WME.
Yep.
And they were all, I didn't know this at the time, but they were all junior agents. They weren't even real agents yet, but they all played me like they were real agents.
I love that.
And but there was one agent that really stuck out to me and really became really tight and close with me. And when I came to them, I had all these ideas and things I wanted to do. Okay. And she's like, usually when talent comes to us, they don't really have anything they want to do. They expect us to do that.
Sure.
And she's like, that really shocked us. Like, we didn't even want to sign you. We just wanted to hear the gossip, But then after I left that meeting, they all wanted to sign me.
Okay.
And so, but they all thought that if I were to do it at that time, it would have just pigeonholed me. And that would have been like the end of what I could have done.
Career-wise, they said they you'll be The Bachelor, you'll always be The Bachelor.
Yeah.
Don't be The Bachelor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're offered the opportunity. Now you look at the show, and we're going to get back into your modeling and construction, but you look at where the show is, not doing quite as well as it was during the days that you were on it.
Mm-hmm.
Would you, and you're still single though, still a massive commodity in the dating scene, would you ever become The Bachelor?
I always say I never say never. I think because I'm not a person who thinks of things as oh, I'm too good for this, I'm too good for that.
Yeah.
If something's cool or fun, I want to do it. It'd be so cool to tell my kids, son, I was The Bachelor, and I did this, and to me, that's what life's about, making adventures and experiences, and that. To me, that shit's cool. I can give at the end of the day, it's all story. You know.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say never say never. But I think The Bachelor needs to evolve a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's I think it's just. It's still set it's, season 12 of The Bachelor. It's still the same thing.
Yeah, production-wise, you're saying.
Production-wise. Yeah. And I think there needs to be an evolution of it. They need to change it a little bit. They needs to get more fun. I don't even watch it right now. The only way I watch it is through Jared Fried's screen. I think that's the only way I keep up with it. It's just
I watched the first episode last night with Zach because I was on the plane, and it was beyond boring. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is hard to watch. Mm-hmm. But let me ask you this. Suppose, let's do a hypothetical. I'm the new executive producer in town. The Bachelor hires me. Mm-hmm. And I say, we're going to change it up. We're going to make it.
It's going to be a really cheap show. Everything's going to be about making money.
It's good. We're going to budget the shows. No. We're going to make it it's going to be uptimes. It's going to be everything that Tyler Cameron would want. And I have to negotiate with you to take on the role. How much is it going to cost me?
It's going to cost you a lot of money.
How much we talk?
I don't know.
500?
No.
Million.
We're getting there.
All right. Well, think about how things have changed from asking Dad to take Gigi Hadid out for dinner money to more than seven figures to get Tyler Cameron to be The Bachelor.
I mean, I don't know. It's also it's a readiness thing too.
What do you mean?
There's things in my life I want to accomplish before I get to that. Or ever do something like that.
And what's that? What do you want to accomplish?
Right now, I started a company, a construction company, and I have all these things that I'm working on right now. And I think that I had a switch flip for me, and it was I go to these events in New York and LA, and I got tired of just building everyone else's dream.
Yeah,
I was like, what am I doing for myself? I'm making money here and there off these things, and I just kept buying land with it, and I'm building houses and I'm doing that. But but really, a lot of it was like buying land, putting my pops to work because he wasn't working at one point for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then now now he's working like crazy. He's busy with a bunch of projects now. So, but it was like, what am I doing for myself?
Yeah.
And that's part of why I moved back to Jupiter, is because there's just, in New York, I'm a small fish in a big pond.
Yeah.
In Jupiter, I'm a big fish in a small pond. And this is a very wealthy pond down here.
It is.
It's a very, very wealthy pond down here. So I can make a name for myself. Like, I'm getting ready to pitch a bar and restaurant concept to a group of people. Like, I have all these opportunities that I would never have in New York City.
Yeah.
But here, I have a name. I can make something happen. I can build a legacy here. So that's why I kind of stopped with like being in New York, being that scene, just going to these events and these dinners, all that stuff. It's like, no, I want to have the dinners. I want to have the events. I want to have people coming and talking about what I'm doing.
I think it's a huge misconception for people out there. And I joke around about it with you, but like Tyler Cameron, shirt off for the like trying to attract women and go on dates. But there is a massive entrepreneurial and investor side that I think the world like doesn't know about you. And hopefully at some point will, or you'll continue to share those stories because you share them with me and I'm like blown away. And I do want to talk about those, but I also want to challenge you for a second. If you did a model shoot today and it was 12 hours, what would you charge? Ideally, in a perfect world.
Yeah.
Like just a
it varies.
Ball,
it varies.
ball, like 20, 30 grand, 40 grand, like ballpark.
I mean, I had a job that we charged 90 for.
90 grand. Okay.
So I got a charge that we, charge 30. It just depends on what it is.
Okay. So
like,
here's what,
like I did Calvin Klein for
$7,500. Gotcha. So brand and stuff like that.
But let's say exposure, brand.
Yeah. But let's say 7,500. Let's say you did one shoot for 90K. Let's say on average, based on what you're telling me, in a day's work for modeling, you get 60 grand on average. You combine them all. Is that fair?
Yeah, but we're also more selective. I'm not doing jobs all the time.
You're not doing all the jobs. But here's the point of why I said that. Before the show, getting 1,000 for 12 hours. After the show, you've built this brand. You're doing really well with it. Now you're getting in the entrepreneurial world. 60,000, all from the starting point of a show. Now, obviously, you've grown it to another level. Why would investing another 3 months into possibly being the lead of another reality show, would you look at it as a step back when you've seen your rates and everything multiply by like 100 times?
I definitely think it is a way to boost what's going on,
Yeah.
And it's a way to get a bunch of attention and things that you're doing. But like, let's talk strategy.
Yeah.
Why would I just do it if I don't have everything set in place?
I see what you're saying.
Why would I just,
guys, there is a brilliant brain behind those blue eyes and big muscles.
why would I just
I see what you're saying. So what you're saying is, why don't you build the empire so you have 8 million things to be able to endorse and promote while you're on that stage? Yeah. That's brilliant.
Everyone goes on The Bachelor or Bachelorette or whatever it is, but they don't have anything for themselves at that point.
Yeah. So you're trying to build equity in things before you start just getting on a stage, showing your love life again. Wow. All right.
Like, and like, to me, like, The Bachelor is a great opportunity.
Yeah.
I think it's an amazing concept. It's worked for years.
Yep.
And it would be a great thing to do one day. Do I want to do it now? Not necessarily, because I want to build things for myself first.
I see what you're saying. So once you have that empire in place,
and it's a possibility,
and then you go do TV shows, you now have all these empires to speak to.
Exactly.
Okay. That makes so much sense. One thing you did say, because I want to get into all the entrepreneurial side of you, but one thing you mentioned earlier, and I think people probably heard it, and then we just got carried away with your awesome story, is that you fired a talent agent and you fired your modeling agency. Peel the curtain back a little bit there. Like, why would you fire an agent? What are you looking for in an agent? Things that like we normally at home never get to hear from people like you.
Well, I fired my first modeling agent. I fired in Miami because it really was just because the agents I had, they're like, you don't need a Miami agent. You're bigger, You don't need that. You have too many agents, and there was no real reason to fire. They were good too. They were great to me, But it was just like, you're growing too big for that market. You need to get out of it, and you don't want that control over you. My talent agent, we didn't work out because there were some things that I felt that were inappropriate.
Okay,
and so I just I fired him.
Inappropriate.
Yeah, like, kind of like said some things to me, like kind of like, in this industry, you got to do some things to, get some places. And I was like, well, I'll go back to picking up a shovel and swinging a hammer before I ever do anything like that.
Like, you're talking about like acts of sex?
Mm-hmm. And so I was just like,
with who? Him?
Just I don't know. I mean, he made it in. You know, he just made.
So that's because that's a world I haven't seen. That exists then.
Mm-hmm. And so like that comment was made, and I was just like, I'm good. And then, and not many people know that. And then another one was, and then like, you know, yeah, let's just leave it at that.
That's enough said. So wow, okay, that stuff does happen. I want to drill down, but I won't. I'll respect that. Does that do you ever get worried about? I was thinking about you the other day. Like as you manage your career, do you get worried when you're at? I think you were at what bar was it? Bounce. Mm-hmm. What's the owner's name again? Bounce is great. We have all done. What's his name?
Cole.
He's awesome. Beauty, married. His wife is awesome. Yep. Kids, great. But do you get worried at all that when you're at all these events with all these girls around and there's a new headline of you dating someone career-wise that hurts the brand, or do you see that as a way of elevating the brand?
I don't think it's the best for the brand. You know, like if I want to be super strategic about what I'm doing, you know, like I came off the show as like America's sweetheart. Yeah. You know, like I was like America's boyfriend and this and that shit. And like I like to party, I like to have a good time. You know, I like to go out and meet people and all that stuff. I do these parties and stuff for these clubs and whatnot. Yeah. And it's more so like it's like I don't go out like down here much, right? Yeah. Jupiter's chill. I go on my boat, and that's kind of what I do. But if I get an opportunity to go out, I'll try and double it up for a weekend, get like 2 events, and get paid cash, and then. But it's really about like me and my boys just having fun.
So it's you're hitting five birds with one stone. You're getting your flights paid for. Your boys are having fun. You're having a good time, and it's like
it's
checking
just a
all
fun
the
weekend.
boxes.
I'm making some money, and I have a little cash box that I make from all these events. Yeah, and I've just been putting it away.
Do you ever, when you do an event like this,
it's my classic car fund.
Do you ever get or try and negotiate percentage of sales from the bar when you show up?
Sometimes.
Okay, gotcha. So if you're doing a bar event, I'm gonna take a shot in the dark. You're walking away with somewhere. I mean, bars, you can only do so much, 10 to 15K.
Yeah, it's not much. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right, let's get into entrepreneurial Tyler Cameron. So now you're making some money. You're coming back from where you were. You're seeing some of the rates. You guys are hearing about them. What's the first entrepreneurial move you made post-show where you actually now have equity in a play? You are now building your empire. You are no longer living someone else's dream. You're living your own dream.
I think the first true equity play was 3 Natives, was the restaurants down here.
And so I know 3 Natives, the acai bowls, but for people that don't know, just
so 3 Natives is like a smoothie acai juice company. It's big in Florida. They're growing like crazy. We got there's 22 stores. They're signed up to do 15 this year. Okay. Yeah.
And so your first store, how did you start it and what did you invest in?
So the first store, it's actually Matt and James started the relationship.
Okay. So Matt, by the way, I need Matt on this podcast. He is probably the best networker I know. Yeah. He knows everybody. Mm-hmm.
But Matt's been like that since college. He's just network.
It's pure, it's genuine, it's real, it's intentional, it's great. Okay, so Matt sets it up.
So Matt was just there eating all the time. And the guy comes up to Matt, he's like, if you guys come and eat at my store and post about it, it's like right in the start of COVID, right like mid-COVID. Yeah. Like Florida's opened up. We can go to the restaurants now, He's like, if you post about it. And he was like worried that like sales were crap, Yeah. And he's like, you post about it, you guys can eat free food all week. So we're like, fuck yeah, we were posting about that shit all the time. We were getting free food always. And his sales went skyrocketed, right? And he's like, I can breathe again. And then me and him became really good friends. And he goes, Tyler, if you, he's like, let's do a deal together. Like, I want you to help be like the face of 3 Natives. I was like, all right, cool. He's like, I'm gonna give you your first store. Let's do like a social contract for it. So we did social contract for it, and I got my first store literally right down the street from here. Okay. And it was a store that was like kind of flailing. It was an existing 3 Natives from a different franchisee, and he bought it, and we made a deal, and I got equity in that restaurant.
What does it cost to buy a franchise?
That one costed us $200,000.
Okay. And what percentage partners are you guys?
I'm 40. He's 60.
Gotcha. And he's operating on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, he runs it. And I show up, eat, and post stories about it all the time.
And is it profitable?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We crushed it.
Really?
Yeah. We already made our money back.
And how long did that take?
A year.
In a restaurant. Mm-hmm. That's impressive.
Yeah. We grossed $980,000 last year, and we netted around $250,000.
And that's with how many stores? Just that
That's
store?
just that store.
What?
Yep.
And acai bowl's almost $1 million?
Yep. And then like a month later, I went and bought that same guy who's selling that store in Abacoa. He's selling a store in Boca. He had 2 stores, and he was kind of letting them both fall apart.
Okay.
I went and bought that store in Boca, and I put my buddy JP to run it because he's been training at 3 Natives because he wanted to do a store.
JP, yeah.
So I put JP in that store. We split it 50-50. I put the money down. He pays me back on my money.
How long did that take to get your money back?
He's still working on it. That store, because that store has a little bit more expenses to it.
Yeah.
So it's a little slower. So we'll be about 1.5 years until I get my money back.
Guys, these numbers that he's saying as far as return on investment with a restaurant are insanely impressive. We'll talk about what the average is versus what Tyler's doing. It's wildly impressive. So that's second store. How many stores do you have now?
So I'm opening my 3rd one right now.
Where's that? That's going to open in West Palm.
West Palm Beach.
Same partnership structure?
Yep. So, but a little different. This one I'm going to put money down.
Okay.
And it'll still be a 60-40 break because he'll run it. But what's nice is that it's not it's a corporate store. Okay. So we don't have to pay like 6% royalty fees or anything like that.
Yeah.
So we make some more money there.
All right. This is the start of Tyler building his empire. I told you guys there's a lot going on between those 2 years. That's really impressive. So that's 3 restaurants. That's 3 franchisees. You have negotiated your equity. You've gotten your cash back. You have operators. I mean, that's wildly impressive. The first question I have, I'm going back to where I started. Where is this being funded by? Is this all being funded by income you're now making post-show?
Yeah.
Got it.
And that's why I have I'll never bash The Bachelor. The Bachelor gave me so much life and so much opportunity, and gave my family life and opportunity.
That's pretty cool when you think about it like that.
I was able to my dad was struggling a little bit with work. It was slow. I started buying land, and he started building for me. And I wasn't really into the business yet because I was still bouncing around all over the world. And my little brother, he. During quarantine, he grew like 100,000 followers. So he was able to make money with the NIL deals in college. Like they thought he was very marketable. Cool. Like it's so cool. Like what the Bachelorette did for me. And so I have nothing but love for that franchise, for the people, for the fan base. They're the most loyal, best fan base in the world. Yeah. 100%. And so that's why my ex used to get so mad at me because someone would stop us in the street and ask for a picture, and I would do it all the time because without them, I don't know that shit. I think I would still be successful in making it in construction the other way,
but not at the rate.
But not at the rate that I am now. And so it's I have nothing but love, in just gratefulness for what that show has done for me, for what the show can do, and what the show has been.
Yeah, oftentimes I'll be asked would you do it again if you could? And I laugh. I'm like, would I do it again? It's changed my in every single way. It's changed my life. What I do for work, how I build businesses, who I'm engaged to, conversations, friendships I have. There's not a regret in the world, and I'll forever be grateful for that. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean, and this is where I push back on people, it doesn't mean you can't have an opinion on the show. It doesn't mean they can make adjustments. It doesn't mean you don't have to love everything they do.
Exactly.
But I think you'll always be grateful for the show.
Always.
When you look at those revenue streams that are now funding all these things that are helping your family grow, and now you're building such a presence in Jupiter, which has been the most productive? Is it or most lucrative? Is it modeling? Is it appearances?
Social media.
Social media by a long shot.
Yeah.
So you'll make more in a post than you will.
My uncle, he's a really, really big, smart business guy.
Yeah.
He made me do a list. It was all the ways I make money.
Yeah.
And it was, and then what makes me the happiest out of those things. So it was a ranking, and it was 1 was social media, 2 was appearances, and TV, radio, 3, modeling, and then and 4. It was funny, the things that were number 1, the highest on my return of investment. Let's say the highest things I make money the quickest were my least things that make me the happiest.
What was high on your happiness scale?
It was construction. It was things that challenged me.
Huh.
Construction. It was not even really 3 Natives because that's more I put that more in the social media
ownership type stuff.
Yeah.
Huh. Building type stuff.
Construction is the hardest thing I've ever done.
Okay, so I think this is a really good lesson for the people back home. You take a T-chart, you write what can make you the most money, but then you write of those what makes you the happiness, what makes you the happiest. How do you adjust it when they're asked backwards?
So he was you need to find the joy. He's like, what about finding the joy in social media? Why don't you like that? I was like, I don't really like social media because I think it's fake. I think it's toxic. I hate reading what people have to say and shit. It kind of warps your brain a little bit,
That's fair.
And I don't like it. I just don't like being around it. I don't like to me, it's just a dating app at this point. I don't really even check it out for anything else. You know,
is that where you're landing all these big dates? Is it all through social media?
Yeah, I'm in Jupiter. There ain't much else around. It's like, or I got to go back to the girls I met in high school. You know.
Okay, gotcha. Unbelievable. All right, what's the next equity play for you? So, first of all, I want to just say that practice I think is really important. What makes you the most money top down? What makes you the happiness? And then finding a way to like tie in the relationship.
Exactly.
Because I think if in that what your uncle said is if you do have one of those that are too weighted, it could really impact the severity of either your success or your happiness.
Yeah.
And making sure those are like synergetic is like super important.
But what I do believe though is like construction and things that do make me happiest can make me like the most money in time. I just have to learn how to get there and do that.
Well, that comes into my next step. You've done the modeling, you've done the TV work, you have your podcast, you got your franchisees now. Like you have a million things going. What's the next step in building that Tyler Cameron empire that gets you to the point where you're like, okay, whether it's a Bachelor or whatever, I would go on the main stage now because I have it. What's that next thing?
I think it's building a construction company that I'm confident in, that I can deliver to people and know that even if I'm not there, it's getting a run right.
Got it.
You know, my little brother is getting ready to graduate. Like, I have a lot of pressure. Like I've been stressed out of my mind lately.
Why is that?
Because I got a lot of overhead. I got a lot of people I'm paying for right now, and I got my little brother who's getting ready to graduate, and he wants to come work for me. So it's like I got to figure out how to make all these pieces work. You know, and I'm the kind of person that's like, I'm gonna die swinging or I'm gonna fail completely.
Yeah.
You know, but like, cause I don't want to cut people off. Like I got people that I love that work. Like that's part of I mix friendships. You know, I got friends that are working with me and whatnot, and that makes it hard. It muddies the water a little bit. But so I got a lot of pressure on me to try and make all these pieces work right now.
I was just thinking about that. Like Katie, who works with you.
Yeah, I got
she's
Katie,
your best friend.
I got Tate, you know, we just hired someone for the foundation.
Wow.
You know, he's great. I got a project manager who's awesome. And then I got my brother who wants to come in the mix. And that's like 5 people right there.
That's 300 to 500K of overhead, right?
Yeah.
That can add up quick. All right. So with construction, people that don't know about the industry quickly want to tap in. The idea here is are you flipping homes? Are you building them ground up? Just give me the business model.
So I think the best thing for me to do to make money is building from ground up, spec homes. And then I have a couple strategies I want to do. And I think it just depends on what's going on in the markets. Like right now is kind of a holding time. Like things aren't really selling well. Yeah. But there's properties that I have that like you just want to sell it. You want to build the house and sell it and get rid of it. Okay. But then I have some properties and locations that I'm like, this should be a rental. This should be a rental. Let's build it, refinance it, rent it, and then move on to the next one.
For the sake of time, I want people to take this from home. If you buy a spec home, how long does that take you?
It's like 6 to 8 months. 6 to 8 months.
And ideally, in a perfect world, what kind of return are you looking for when you do a spec home?
I mean, you want to make anywhere from 10 to 20%.
Okay. So you're investing the capital, you're buying the land, you're then so you're contracting out the work, managing the cost of that, managing the people of that, getting the house up in 8 to 12 months and flipping it at 10 to 20%. That's the perfect case scenario.
Yeah. But I mean, the one I just sold, we made a killing on because I bought it. I bought the land before the market went crazy and I sold it at a high. I bought this house. I bought the land at 175. Okay. My neighbors are now selling their land at 420.
Oh, that's just the land.
That's just the land.
Okay. So you're making 200, 300% just on the land.
Yeah. So I bought that house. I think I was going to sell it for like $950,000. I saw the market keep going up. So I started adding nicer finishes to all my houses. And what I thought I was going to sell at 920, I sold at 1.4.
1.4. And what were your all-in costs?
My all-in cost, I walked away. So all in, my costs were about $1 million, and I walked away with $450.
$450. I mean, you think about that. You do a few of those a year. I mean, it's a hell of a year, especially when you put it on top of everything else. I now see why the construction side could start to outpace the Instagram modeling side. Yeah. Interesting. For someone back home who's looking at buying a house from a builder who built a spec house, just as a consumer, like if I walk into a house that's being built, what is something I should know that as a consumer I wouldn't know, but a builder could tell me?
I think with a spec home, you know what you're going to get. Okay. Right. Like you know the bones are going to be good. You know, like it's like when you get an older house, it's going to have wear and tear, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think when you're buying a spec home, you're going to pay the premium because you're walking into a brand new house, right? You're getting it fixed. You're going to finish the way you want it finished and done the way you want it to be done, especially if you buy it early in the build process. You know, you have to pick out all the finishes and whatnot, but so there's a little customization to it. So that's like the nice part, but you're going to pay a premium for that.
Okay.
But when you buy an older house, you know, you're going to have to do some work to it and whatnot. So, I mean, my thing is unless you have the ability to go in there and flip it, renovate it yourself, buying a spec's probably the best way to go.
Okay, but if I'm buying a spec, is that one thing I should be like? Give me one thing to look for if I'm buying a spec house. Is it the quality? Is it the brands of the doors? Is it the fucking doorknobs? Like, what is one thing I should?
All that's important. You know, if you're paying $1.45 million, you want to make sure you're getting, you know, the type of packages that fit that. You know, you want to make sure you're not getting like the standard Home Depot, you know, 3-piece package, you know, from, you know, like for $1,200, $200. You know, you want to make sure you're getting a nice package. You want to make sure you're getting 3cm, you know, quartz countertops. You want to make sure you're getting the nice stuff. You don't want to just get like, you know, I go into these nice rich condos sometimes, and they got these little countertops and these. I'm like, this is cheap, you know. Yeah. You know, you want to make sure your cabinets are nice. You know, I think a lot of, you know, you walk into a lot of houses and you'll see builders. They'll sell you on, like in Florida, they can sell you on a high price right now because everyone's paying it. Gotcha. But they're going to put cheap finishes in it.
Okay, watch out for those finishes. I'll tell you what, whether it's building a house, it's acai bowls, it's modeling, it's finding the next date, Tyler, there's a lot of depth here. There's a lot going on here. Let's do a quick rapid fire before we wrap up and get your trading secret on all things money to revenue generation. You ready for it? Mm-hmm. Okay. What is the most credit card debt you ever had, whether it's pre-show or post-show?
So we're renovating a bunch of houses right now.
Okay. You're like, it's steep right now.
And I saw a credit card bill for $181,000.
Wait, was it all paid off?
It gets paid off every month.
Did any interest get put on that?
No.
Or no? All right. Well, you're collecting the points, I hope.
Yeah.
All right. So you got that.
So I got that. Yeah. But that was the biggest one I've seen.
Have you ever been in like financial trouble before where you're rolling?
I've never been in debt. My dad's always been against debt.
Okay.
You know? Yeah. But no debt. But I tell you one thing I've learned is like credit cards are dangerous. It's easy to, next thing you know, I'm like, fuck, I got a $20,000 bill this month or $15,000. You know, I'm like, what happened to the days where I was like spending $5,000? Yeah. You know, so it just, you got to be careful when you get a credit card. It's so easy to just swipe it at dinner and pay for everyone's dinner and whatnot.
It's really tough to budget when you have a credit card if you're not diligent with it. What is the best financial decision you've ever made or investment?
Well, the biggest financial lesson I've learned, I think it's the investment I didn't make is the best thing that ever happened to me. Okay. There was a lot. So where I live in Jupiter, right? Half the neighborhood's on the water, half the neighborhood's not. And there was a lot behind me that was on the water. And it was being sold for $650,000 right before COVID. And it was a tear down, you had to tear it down, whatever. And it was a cash deal. And I was like, I was really into this deal. It would have pretty much been like 3/4 of all my money to do this. It would have been a huge investment. And we were all sitting home for COVID. I was a little nervous. I was like, what's work going to be? So I backed out of it. That house is now, rebuilt, and now it's over $3.5 million.
So what's your takeaway? Take the shot.
So now I was like, you're never going to get in the game unless you start taking shots. Like if you sit in the sidelines, you'll never, when's the right time to get in business? There is no right time. You just got to go. And then you learn, And so I started buying land. And every piece of land I bought, I've made money on.
Interesting.
I haven't even sold them yet, but I've made money on them.
Interesting. Landowner, Airbnb owner, construction flipper. All right. What is the most you've ever spent on a date?
Probably $1,000.
Okay. I thought it was going to be more than that. No. What is one thing that you spend money on, but you're never going to discontinue that, even if food. I got to pull back?
I love food. I love dinner dates. I love sitting down and talking, having nice wine and good food. Sometimes I'll just tell the chef, pick whatever you want.
Got it. All right.
And surprise us and make it fun.
Podcasting or a post on social media, what's making you more money?
In total, probably social media in total.
What's the best brand deal you've ever done in social media?
Best brand deal I've ever done in social media. Man, them deals with Bumble used to kick ass.
Oh, because of the results or the money?
My Steve Madden deal was great.
Steve Madden deal?
Yeah.
How much did you posting?
That was my modeling. That was just a modeling shoot.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a great one.
6-figure opportunity?
Yeah. No, it was right. I had some 6-figure ones. Yeah, I don't even know which ones. I mean, I've had great ones. I don't know.
I don't want you to get in trouble with the brand. What is the most you've ever been paid for anything post Bachelorette for doing some type of collaboration or work or anything? What's the biggest dollar number you've gotten since the show?
I think I did a deal. It was like a 2-post deal for like $250.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah. I'm not bad. I can't think of them. I mean, I've had some big ones, but yeah, I think that was like for the lightest amount of work. And they were buying my books. I made a deal where they had to buy a bunch of my books and give them to all my fans and whatnot.
The book deal too. That's another one I forgot to get into. All right. All things here, man. You have so much going on. I don't know how you keep up with it all, because what's interesting is majority of people see Tyler Cameron in your next date. You know, they see, oh, he's talking to this person, that. There is so much more going on behind the scenes, especially as you're building this empire. Timeline, based on everything you got going, how long do you think it's going to take you for you to have all your stones in place to where you want to go?
I think, give me a couple of years.
Couple of years.
Give me a couple of years.
Okay.
Give me a year or two.
Okay.
I think I got things going in the right way. I think that's part of the reason why I moved back to Jupiter, is because I want to make a name for myself down here. I want to build something special. And I think I got a lot of really cool things in the works. And I think it's going to be ways for people to understand me more. Yeah. I think it's going to be ways for people to come be a part of what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm excited. These next couple of years are going to be huge.
We'll stay tuned for that. I have 2 last quick questions before we get your trading secret. First one is you've dated some massive celebrities. You've come across some massive successful business people, celebrities, individuals that like run the world. I've seen you in pictures with them. When you think about all these people you've come across and met, can you think of one person, one bit of advice that someone gave you that has had a big impact on your career direction or financial moves or anything like that? You've met some high places.
I met some great people. But I think, you meet these people, all these people in passing,
Yeah.
And you have some good conversations with them, and a lot of conversations get lost. I'll be honest with you, Jay. I think some of the best conversations I've had and learning things and growing and whatnot, and has been like whenever I leave a conversation with you.
I was just about to get a compliment.
Whenever I leave a conversation with you, Jay, I always feel like I've learned something, or I leave there thinking. And so I think that's always been like you've been someone who I've admired in this space, because you work your ass off. You're the biggest hustler I know. Like, I have nothing but respect for the way you do things, the way you go about things. But to me, no one's made me think more really in this space, like in this like famous influencer, whatever space. Yeah. No one's made me think or leave a conversation more than you when I've talked with you.
Wow, I appreciate that, man.
You definitely are special. You inspire people. You teach people a lot of things, which I think is so cool. Like, you started Trading Secrets, like it's a finance podcast, but you're a Bachelor guy. You found your niche and like you ran with it, like, and you're really good at it. Like, you have a gift. And so like every time I've come to see you and meet you, I've always learned something. You always get me thinking more how I can do this or do that for my business and whatnot. So I think you're the person I've had a lot of like the most important conversations that had my brain clicking the most.
I love that. That means a lot. I appreciate it. And after this conversation, it's making me think maybe we got to partner up on something.
Yeah.
Maybe we got to do something.
We will.
Before we get your trading secret, I want to give you the chance. I think there are either misconceptions, or there are either what people think of Tyler Cameron because they see a post or something. What is the biggest thing you think that people think they know about you but don't know about you? What is one thing about Tyler Cameron you want someone to know?
I think it's a lot of those things we discussed today. Yeah. It's like everyone's like, get a job. You don't want to do this. Yeah. You don't do that. But like,
you have 40 jobs.
Bro, I stopped worrying about trying to convince myself to people. Yeah. I don't care. Yeah. Like, I just, like, part of like what I love being about here in Jupiter is like, it's just made me realize like, the only thing I'm doing this for is for my future. Yeah. And I'm doing it for the people around me, to put them in positions. Like, I hope if you come to me and you're with me, you leave like somewhat motivated, somewhat happier, or a way to make money together. You know, like that's what I hope to inspire with like my friends and people around me.
That's huge.
You know, and so like I stopped caring like about misconceptions or whatever, because whether I tell you what I think is like wrong, you're never gonna listen.
No, exactly.
You know, and a lot of it's projection. You know,
a ton of it's projection.
So I don't care anymore. You can think about me whatever you want, whatever space you think I am. I'm a fuckboy, or I'm this, or I'm that. It's whatever.
It is what it is. Ignore the noise. People love to see people fail, and you just keep pushing forward.
Yeah, my dad always said, man, is they love to see you rise, but they love even more to see you fall. You know?
There's truth to that. Pops knows. All right, we got to wrap with your trading secret. You've given a lot of advice and insight here, career-wise, financial-wise, but it's one trading secret. People can't learn in a textbook. They can't learn in a classroom. They can just learn from your experience. TC1 trading secret. What can you leave the viewers with?
You know, I don't got no Y equals MX plus B type finance trading secret for you, you know. But what I'll leave you with is life is fragile. We get one life. We get one chance to go through this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And, you know, be happy with what you're doing, you know, and go for it. Because I think the only thing that holds us back is self-sabotage, you know, lack of belief in ourselves, lack of belief in the people. And I deal with it. I deal with it all the time. You know, I'm like, damn, I shouldn't be in this position. I'm not good enough for this, or I can't be there. But that's just the fucking devil in my brain talking. But you just go. Believe in yourself and put yourself out there. I don't got no finance or no trading secret like that, but it's just belief. Yeah. And live life, like go for it, because you only get one time to do this. You know, I lost my mom. She's 55 years old. You know, I don't know exactly. I forget, like 56. Life's a blur. Yeah. But she wish she could still. I wish she was still here. And there's things that I didn't get to live out with her that I wanted to. Mm-hmm. You know, my biggest goal was I was going to surprise her and renovate her house. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm doing that now. But there's things that like you never will get a chance to ever do again. So go do them. Go explore. Live life. Make it an adventure. And live it to the fullest. Like that's what I try to do. Like I try to make everything fun, because if you're not having fun with it, leave it, lose it. You know, make that list. You know, what makes you the most money and what makes you the happiest, and see where the balance is. That's hell of a trading secret, especially for you being like, I don't have that finance information. I mean, that's brilliant. Every shot you've taken has put you in the position you're in today. Mm-hmm. You know, mom's looking down and she's proud of who you are and what you're doing and what's to come. So, Tyler, thank you for being vulnerable, open, honest, and just honestly giving us so much wisdom as it relates to career navigation, financial advice, money management, and what's next. Where can everyone find everything you got going on? Yeah, I mean, we have the Everybody But Me show on Tuesdays, which is a lot of fun. We talk about dating there and dating mishaps. I had some DMs when I was on the show. People didn't know how to download it. Can you explain? Yeah, there's an app called AMP. So right now we're on an app called AMP. And you have to download it to listen to it. It's a live radio show. It comes on at 6 o'clock every Tuesday, Eastern time. And then it goes on YouTube like a week or two later usually. Cool. But catch it live. It's fun because then you can call in and join in the fun, and we can talk with you and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So we have that. The charity is going amazing right now. We just signed on for our next gala, Sweet. October 26th. So it's in the calendar. Ticket sales will be out there for that soon. We're working on possibly doing a 5K or 10K race down here. We're working on doing a pickleball tournament down here for the foundation. We're working on a deal right now. This is one of the things I'm most excited about. Okay, is we're working on a deal right now where we pay $12,000, and then Bright Futures possibly will pay the other $12,000. We're going to give kids full tuition to go to college. And I mean, my mom was a super mom, and all she cared about was helping people get to college and further their life. And this is how we continue our legacy. So, you know, that's one thing, you know, when people donate to our foundation, whatever, it is going to these kids, and these kids are getting full tuition now, which I'm so excited about. Like that's changing lives.
It's unbelievable. I mean, people think it starts and stops with modeling and shirt up. I mean, you have an unbelievable foundation. You're changing kids' lives. You have construction deals going left and right. You have the Acai franchise. You have a book out. You have a podcast out. You have more TV opportunities. You're still having some fun with the boys doing appearances. The list is endless with you. You are an inspiration. Keep moving forward. Ignore the noise. And Tyler Cameron, if you guys aren't following him, go follow everything. Download his show. And thank you for being on Trading Secrets.
Of course. Now let's go make business happen.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go make a deal, baby. Let's go make a deal.